Hello, dear viewers. You are on the channel where the scariest and most mysterious stories come to life. True events, dark legends, and fictional tales that will send shivers even down the bravest spine. Every story here is a journey beyond the ordinary. If you enjoy fear and the unknown, subscribe to the channel and don't forget to leave a like so you never miss a single story.
Today I will tell you a story that still haunts me. This is not just a memory, it is the pain of everyone who searched for him, the boy who vanished in the woods and was never seen again. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit like. Stories like this must be remembered, so that we never forget those who disappeared without a trace. He remembered that summer of 1981, when his family decided to spend a weekend camping in the vast national park surrounded by endless forests. His name was Michael, and he was only 9 years old, curious about everything and always eager to explore the unknown. He loved hiking with his father, and that morning he woke up early, excited for another adventure on the winding forest trails. He ate breakfast quickly, barely listening to his mother's warnings not to wander too far from the campsite. He promised he would stay close, but his mind was already filled with thoughts of secret paths and hidden streams. He set off with his father and older brother, following the marked trail deeper into the woods, sunlight flickering through the leaves above. He stopped to examine every mushroom, every strange rock, and every animal track, falling behind the others as his curiosity took over. He heard his father call out, reminding him to hurry up, and he jogged to catch up, laughing as he dodged low branches. He saw a deer dart through the trees and, without thinking, chased after it, convinced he could get a closer look. He ran farther than he realized, the sounds of his family fading behind him, replaced by the quiet hush of the forest. He stopped, suddenly aware that he was alone, and looked around, trying to spot a familiar landmark or hear a familiar voice. He called out for his father, but only the wind answered, rustling the leaves and making the shadows seem to move. He tried to retrace his steps, but every tree looked the same, and his heart began to pound with fear as he realized he was lost. He remembered his father's advice, stay put if you get lost, but the urge to find his way back was too strong. He wandered in circles, shouting for help, hoping someone would hear him, but the forest seemed to swallow his voice. He tripped over a root and fell, scraping his knee, tears welling up in his eyes as he sat on the damp ground. He wiped his face, determined not to panic, and tried to remember which direction the campsite was. He walked for what felt like hours, the sun moving higher in the sky, hunger and thirst gnawing at him. He thought he heard voices once, but when he called out, there was only silence, broken by the distant call of a bird. He found a small stream and drank, grateful for the cool water, but the loneliness pressed in on him from all sides. He tried to build a little shelter from branches, remembering what his father had taught him about survival in the wild. He listened for the sound of searchers, but as night fell, the forest grew cold and filled with strange noises. He curled up under his makeshift shelter, shivering, wishing more than anything to see his family again. He dreamed of home, of his mother's cooking and his brother's jokes, and woke up to the gray light of dawn. He decided to keep moving, hoping to find a trail or a road, but the forest seemed endless and unforgiving. He saw animal tracks in the mud and wondered if he was being watched, his imagination running wild with fear. He called out again and again, his voice growing hoarse, but the only answer was the echo of his own cries. He found wild berries and ate a few, hoping they weren't poisonous, his stomach aching with hunger. He climbed a fallen log to get a better view, but all he saw were trees stretching in every direction. He felt the first drops of rain and hurried to find shelter, huddling under a thick pine as the storm rolled in. He listened to the thunder, each crash making him jump, and tried to stay warm as the rain soaked through his clothes. He wondered if anyone was looking for him, if his parents were worried, if the park rangers had started a search. He tried to remember how many days had passed, but time seemed to blur together in the endless green of the woods. He saw a flash of orange through the trees and ran toward it, thinking it was a rescuer, but it was only a patch of wildflowers. He began to lose hope, exhaustion and fear taking over, but he forced himself to keep moving, one step at a time. He found an old, rusted can near a tree, proof that someone had been there before, and wondered if he was close to a trail. He shouted until his voice gave out, collapsing on the ground, too tired to cry, too scared to sleep. He thought about his family, picturing their faces, and promised himself he would never give up, no matter how hopeless it seemed. He heard a distant barking and felt a surge of hope, thinking a search dog was coming, but the sound faded away. He climbed a hill, hoping to see the campsite, but the view was only more trees and endless sky. He tried to follow the sun, reasoning it would lead him west, but the thick canopy made it impossible to tell directions. He found a feather and tucked it into his pocket, a small comfort in the vast, empty forest. He listened to the sounds of the woods, the rustle of leaves, the snap of twigs, and wondered if something was following him. He saw strange shapes in the shadows at night, his mind playing tricks on him as fear and fatigue set in. He tried to stay awake, afraid of what might happen if he fell asleep, but exhaustion always won in the end. He dreamed of rescue, of voices calling his name, but woke up to silence and the cold light of morning. He found a broken compass on the ground, but the needle spun uselessly, offering no help in finding his way. He wondered if he would ever see his family again, if anyone would ever find him in the endless maze of trees. He kept moving, refusing to give in to despair, but his steps grew slower, his body weaker with each passing day. He saw a distant light one night and stumbled toward it, but it vanished before he could reach it, leaving him alone once more. He tried to remember every survival lesson his father had taught him, clinging to hope even as his strength faded. He sang songs to himself to keep his spirits up, the sound of his own voice a small comfort in the darkness. He marked trees with rocks, hoping someone would see the signs and follow them to find him. He heard helicopters overhead once, but the trees were too thick, and no one saw him waving desperately from below. He wondered if he would become just another missing person, a name on a poster, a story whispered around campfires. He promised himself he would keep fighting, that he would not let the forest win, no matter how tired or scared he was. He found a clearing and lay down, staring up at the stars, wishing on each one for rescue, for a miracle. He thought he heard his mother's voice calling his name, but when he sat up, there was only wind and darkness. He closed his eyes, holding on to hope, refusing to let go, even as the forest closed in around him. He dreamed of home, of laughter and light, and in his dream, he was safe, surrounded by those he loved. He never gave up, not truly, even as the days passed and the searchers' voices grew fainter. He became a legend in the park, the boy who vanished without a trace, his story told to warn others never to wander alone. He is still remembered by those who searched for him, who left flowers at the trailhead and whispered prayers into the trees. His family never stopped hoping, never stopped searching, their love a beacon that still shines in the darkest corners of the woods. His story is a reminder that the wild is beautiful, but unforgiving, and that sometimes, even the bravest hearts can be lost. Until next time, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and never forget those who disappeared, leaving only memories and unanswered questions behind.